So in this context, today I have with me a very beautiful theatre and film actor, Rajshree who's not extremely dexterous, but has a beautiful heart which is filled with compassion. Rajshree, welcome to Into the Life, and thank you so much for agreeing to be a part of it.
Thank you so much for being here.
Okay, so Rajshree, as I've already given an introduction about the topic to my viewers, I will come straight to my first question. Um, the transition of women in Indian cinema, the portrayal of women in Indian cinema, how do you see the transition?
Uh, when you say transition, basically, even if you go on back to like 50s or 40s,
Right.
there were strong women portrayed
Yes.
at that time also. But yeah, of course, when you look at the eras and the maybe the political scenario or the social structure which was there, they were portraying that kind of a cinema or that kind of a women at that time. Today, the society or the structure is little different. So what we are portraying is maybe a today's woman, who's like in that time maybe that woman was a housewife or they're trying to do something in the domestic issues. Today we have a little different kind of issues where most of the women are working nowadays. I cannot say all of them,
Yeah.
but yeah, so the storytelling is according to that. So yeah.
Okay, so let me come to this, Rajshree. So when you talk about nudity in Indian cinema, if I take an example of Hollywood, Jennifer Lawrence in 60 Minutes and Scarlett Johansson, they've been quite vocal about their portrayal of nudity in cinema. And they've openly said that it was quite liberating and empowering. Is it difficult for Indian audience to see these decisions as mitigation, masquerading as empowered? What is your opinion about this?
Uh, I don't know how you see nudity or how people look at nudity as such. Nudity is not bad. It's beautiful, you know. We all are actually naked in our other way. Uh, what is wrong portrayal is, for me, it's titillating or derogatory words using for any sexuality.
Right.
That is something which is wrong for me. When I look at nudity, I like, why we don't look at where the beautiful sculptures are there. When we
Correct.
look at Khajuraho temple, we even our goddesses in a lot of places, the way it has been portrayed,
Right.
so we don't think about that, and we point such places where we should not point, and where we should point we are not pointing. When we talk about the double meaning thing, when we talk about where the camera is spanning, where women has been portrayed in a very bad way, that is entertainment for them, because it's a funny, maybe a funny moment for them, but it's actually not funny. Where we are putting women or even any human being in a very bad light, which we should not. Talking about the religion, talking about the storyline about gender, it's completely bad. That is, I think, more dangerous. How we have
Right.
portrayed LGBTQ in our film industry is so derogatory. There are so many films which has, it's like a laughing thing for them. So that is
Cinema-
dangerous for me more than anything.
Right,
about,
as you rightly
this
said,
way.
cinema is just a reflection of society.
Yeah,
It's
cinema
something
plays a very big part.
plays a very
in
big role
that.
in shaping people's perspective.
True.
Definitely, yes. So, uh, we know that, Rajshree, you've been trolled, you've been criticized for the decisions that you've made in the past. Um, what is your perspective? I would like to have your perspective on what did you feel the time and by choosing?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we all are trolled, right? You must have been trolled for discussing or talking something, or maybe Trolling is what? Like what you have done since your childhood also, somebody must have said this is wrong, this is wrong. I think everyone, even all your viewers, you can ask them, they must have trolled.
Right.
Like,
Right, right.
today it's social media, yesterday it was society, day
Correct.
before it was your own people. All these things are till today. So everyone is somewhere or other way getting trolled because of their decisions. The moment you take something like this as a decision, you're named or you're termed as bold or fearless or
Absolutely. I was coming to this. So media does indeed, you know, media per se says that okay,
I
such
call
and
it
such.
as a society basically. I'm not
Okay.
pointing just one person
Uh-huh.
because, of course, everyone needs to be blamed for whatever is happening in
Correct.
our
Okay.
country. It's the perspective. A lot of times we need education, awareness about many things, and those things needs to be famous everywhere rather than just talking about like that one
Correct.
scene what you did and why only a woman get trolled then
Absolutely.
in if you look back in that scene I have a man also over there, why not both the people like should be trolled. They asked me
Absolutely.
how your family look at it. I said, why don't you have you asked this question to Nawaz who was there in the same scene, so we need to change that perspective. We need to talk about it ki, why only women should be like
Absolutely.
like everyone
Yeah.
should talk
Blamed.
about it.
Yes.
I'm not talking about blaming because we know the narrative is of
Yes.
course the people who are involved in this show
Absolutely.
and the structure, the way we shot the scene, the way it has been written, the way it's
Correct.
part of the storyline. We all knew about it and we knew that it's not something which is just planted to titillate people. Those 2 seconds in those 10 hour of web show is not for the titillating because it's part of the show.
Narrative.
But unfortunately people there are people who says that okay, this is an item number or this section
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
they think about that first and then they think about the storyline. So that is something which is completely wrong because your aim is to maybe sell your film or or titillate people or get that kind of a audience on.
Right. So we're not trying to categorize this as we said into something is sacred, something is good, something is bad. No, everything is relative.
Yeah, everything is relative
Right.
because I think cinema is a very powerful medium. We are telling stories to people.
Right. Right.
And those stories has to have all kind of a flavors over there.
Right.
So
Let me come to this, Rajshree. Now, recently, about after these Me Too movement and times of movement, uh, have you seen um, com- relatively better environment for female actors in the industry per se, or um, in terms of equal pay as well? But when you talk about portrayals of such scenes, when you talk about portrayal of intimate scenes and nudity in cinema, it's actually a grey area. Whereas there's a lot of ambiguity at the same side, on the contrast.
I guess all these movement is very important. As I said earlier, also that the differences was there before also. Today also we are dealing with at least today we have social media to talk about
talk
it.
about.
Maybe like in what 60s 70s there were no media, there is no somewhere like digital platform to tell that whatever has
Right.
happened with you is wrong. So I'm glad that people are standing up because we all need to talk. We all need to. Everyone should hear their stories. What's happening in the world and what's happening in every field. Actually, it's not only about that all the film industry is to be there. No, if you go back to the corporate field, if you go back to doctors or engineers and all these areas, everyone is actually dealing with some other thing, and not only women, even men, even LGBTQ, everyone is suffering with that. So that's what I feel. Okay, the society, we all have to, because where to start, whom to blame. Your mother is calling you a Raja Beta, and your she is despairing you. So we need to educate all of them. You can't just keep blaming people. You just have to start curing people. We we have to make them understand that it's a it's a disease and can be curable. Uh, that's why I decided, because I always feel that when I'm on screen, when I'm behind the camera, uh, I feel I'm very real. I'm portraying the person, and thank God all the characters are very real characters which
Right.
I've got it.
Right.
I've never got anything like a fantasy कि अरे ये औरत कभी हो ही नहीं सकती types वाला कभी हुआ नहीं है मुझे. So whatever I have portrayed is a real story.
Right.
Somewhere someone have lived that story.
That story.
So
Okay.
I always feel so real when I'm behind camera, and the moment I'm I'm out of everything, the whole world looks like, there are so many things, so many problems, so many issues, and the world looks like a fake thing. And in that you have to find your footing, and you have to say that,
Right.
you have to keep yourself real is a challenge.
It's a challenge.
And I think that's the reason, like, I'm keeping that, having that balance of maybe a social work which I've been doing from past 5-6 years.
Yes.
So that is where I feel that I have to keep myself real, because if I run, um, like, I'm not talking about only film industry, but even all the areas that we all are just running, trying to accomplish something, trying to reach somewhere, that this is my goal.
Yes.
Of course, goal is important,
Yes.
but we are sacrificing our life,
Yes.
we are sacrificing our family, and we are sacrificing ourselves, because we want to become something, we want to reach out something, we want to always compare, we always want to compete with things. And in today's world, it's just not that. Today's world, we have stopped breathing. Yeah.
Yes, actually.
Today we are, like, nobody wants to relish the moments. Or, that this is the moment which we all should be together and relish it. Or, just. So
Right.
I feel really terrible sometimes, yeah. And in that, you have to find real people, or
I
the
understood.
warmth,
Yes.
the humanity.
Humanity. Yes.
So
So, as you said, I would not say media. I would say yes, as a society as a whole. Tom, you courageous and bold. So, do you think that actresses still need to couch it, not as a means of expressing themselves or their art, but come up with a way to legitimize your decision?
just elaborate. Right?
Yeah, so basically, when you play such roles on screen, as you just mentioned, why was your namaz not trolled or asked for explanations? But in a way, or through so many trolls, you were kind of pressurized or led into believing that you are supposed to give explanations for the uh, roles that you have chosen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
What do I do? What do I tell these people? Because that's the reason I feel, that education awareness is very important. We all need to know what is wrong, where things are, where we all are heading. When we talk about something like this, do we look back to, your own self, that you are also wrong many a places. Nobody wants to deal with that thing where how you're dealing with your own people. Like, just an example, that when there are people who ask me this question, do you feel bad about this, and how your family will react, and all that, dig into it. And you look back to their own thing, that where a person is a family member is a lyncher, predators, the person is not treating their own people properly.
Yes.
What is wrong then? Wrong is that
Correct.
that you are treating another human being in a bad way.
Absolutely.
I always feel that there are a lot of people, they ask questions and all, and they don't treat their own people properly. That is inhuman for me. That is dangerous for me, rather than showing my nudity. That is more dangerous, because that's what your surroundings is going to see. and your family, your kids is going to be raised seeing your own mother abusing your, like, housemaid or someone, or you seeing the same person, the father, abusing his own wife. The child will grow up like that, and the person is asking me question. I feel that we all have to look back to ourselves and see how we all, are we a good human being? Stop,
Correct.
like, we all need to raise voice, we all need to talk about issues, but we have to examine ourselves also, that are we, when we talk about, suppose now, when we talk about environment, we post a lot of things on social media. We, like, I've seen so many people discussing
yes.
how we all should be vegan, how we all should be animal rights we have to do, and then how we all should, like, plant trees. How we, everything is there. So many
Yes,
things, and
you are into a lot of social work. I'll come to that.
yeah.
But before that, Rajshree, I would like you to talk about this. Do you feel that yes, contemporary cinema is very different from the past, but if you talk about female characters, they've always been portrayed maybe as martyrs, as a victim of circumstances. In those sense, has maybe in order to give a particular narrative, but still in order to sell it commercially, was that has always been majority of the times. Would you feel that?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's true also in a lot of places. But today, like, see, there was a good cinema in
Yes, it's
50s
always been.
also. It was
Always
always
been.
there,
Always there.
But
See, when you talk about these movies, see, if we talk about the movie you're referring to, Gandu, there have been scenes, movies like Nude ran into problems, but a lot of movie that has not been
yeah,
appreciated or
like,
accepted by audience here, but
yeah.
has won a lot of awards, over the in
But that's what,
internationally.
now, if you just go back and see Sham Benegal's films, there are a lot of films that are not even released.
Uh-huh.
And there are some films, if you know, that they have made with a crowdfunding budget.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
so like, if you see Manthan by Sham Benegal ji, it's made by a crowdfunding unit.
Okay.
And it's a wonderful film by Girish Karnad and Smita Patil, Mohan Agashe and Nasiruddin Shah. But again, it didn't receive that much. Of course, they received a lot of awards and all, but it didn't do. No, there are very few actually know about it. It was there on a Doordarshan.
Right.
That's
So-
that was the only way out. But today, as we have, like, that time only Doordarshan was there.
Correct.
But still, there was
Today-
some good cinema was
Yes,
there, which
yes.
used to come out at least in Doordarshan. So it used to travel to villages and everywhere.
Ah.
Now what has happened? Now
Right.
the OTT platform, and there are
Yes.
so many
Absolutely.
channels, and so everything is traveling.
Right.
Like, as I said, village, they don't have toilets,
Yeah.
but they have a mobile phone. Everyone,
Right.
everyone have a mobile phone. That's the truth, and I know villages very well.
Correct.
So it's a very sad state, but so it's easier. It's a click of a button. You can
Correct.
just go to the YouTube and you can watch cinema, or you
Absolutely.
can watch some crap things, or whatever you want to do it.
So that's what I'm wanted to know actually. When you talk about, for example, your movie Six S Durga, yeah, right, and also your Sacred Games, So when people comment, people would always comment in some other thing, maybe accept something or not. What was your idea when you pick up such roles and you were ready to take these as a challenge? But
See, S. Durga, unfortunately, there are very few have actually seen it.
yes,
I really wanted when it was in IFI. I was, my only thing to the whole controversy audience
Okay.
was, please watch the
Watch
film and
the film.
then judge it. Just tell me what's there. There is nothing in the film. Durga is, there are, like, if you actually look at it, there are, every second girl name is based on a goddess. Or a god. Men also has been named Gajanan because, there are so many names is actually related to gods. So when we look at a woman and if we are given her name Durga, it's a normal person, you know. And of course, when we say that ki okay Durga, you know, of course the first thing they think about Durga is secret, you know.
Yes.
But do you actually look at a woman in that way? You don't.
You don't.
Do you, when you worship your God so much, you do so much for your God, you keep your daughters or a son named by a God,
Yes.
and then the same person, you
Hypocrisy.
abuse your daughter,
Hypocrisy.
you
Yeah.
abuse your daughter-in-law, you abuse your wife, then कहाँ गया फिर तुम्हारा भगवान उस वक्त, you know, then that time that person is just a woman for you.
Correct.
So that's what we are trying to tell a story like that, you know, how when we worship someone, why don't we worship a woman also? Why don't we worship a human also?
It's a beautiful thought.
So that's where, you know, I feel that I strongly believe in such subjects.
Right.
When it comes to a Subhadra's character from Sacred Games, you know, the journey of Subhadra is so beautiful. You know, how she deal with everything, how she is just like, you know, like a just coy somewhere in the corner, being a housemaid in the house, and how she takes charge of this, and how she tells her own husband that what you're doing is you need to do this. When she tells him about you know, Ramayana, okay, what exactly is behind it, that's the character what she's dealing with, you know. When she talks about the Kharva scene, I don't know if you've seen it, but the love is just, you know, there.
Yes.
So that's how the character has been described. Like it's not like somewhere, you know, like you're just planted like I don't know, some films like Masti or Crank Masti or
Yes.
you know, and like where you just want to titillate people because that's the audience, you want to keep it happy.
Absolutely.
But I think just, you know, for an entertainment, for a good laugh, there is so much great literature we already have. You read them, you feel happy. Like, I think Andaz Apna Apna is still happy for me, you know. Or Jaane Bhi Do Yaar is still happy for me. I don't see anything wrong in such. Or so many films I say there is humor, you know, like Badhai Ho, such a cute story, and you get
subjects.
good,
Yes,
you
yes,
get good
yes.
laugh with that.
No,
Also.
I think yes. When in contemporary world, you say how cinema is changing. You know, talk about this movie Vicky Donor. You know, the
Yeah,
subjects.
it's a
You know,
subject,
It's a
yeah.
subject. You know, have to see it.
That's what I'm telling you. No, writer needs to be paid properly. Writer needs to be nourished properly because.
Right.
Unfortunately, writer comes at the end. पहले तो आता है तुम्हारा, you have a
Yes.
who's a star who will get
Star.
a box office.
Yeah.
Star आने के बाद who will match that star का actress, and then उसके बाद तुम्हारा आता है कि okay, who's the director and the producer, how much money is getting involved in, and then we have that okay, what about the like, you know, who will dance on these songs? The costumes is almost same in all the songs.
Yes.
All the item numbers you see, I don't see a single change in that costume. The same, that choli and that something in the down which you just barely you know,
Yes,
मतलब
covered.
literally the choli which is there ना, उससे मतलब पता नहीं क्या ढकते हैं लोग. So nothing has changed, and you are
It's just a perspective, you know. It's
absolutely.
so
So the and
when
at
you
the
are showing
end,
the complete truth,
सब कुछ हो गया और like अभी shoot करना है, सब कुछ हो गया उसका, और फिर अरे story तो चाहिए ना, you know. So like let's write something. Who's the writer? अरे so बना दो, ये actor है, ये actress है, अब बना दो कुछ. It's so sad. You know, why do we do that? You know, when we put so many crores in that, you know, maybe they will recover. Honestly, today, you know, unfortunately, these films are recovering, and I'm like, I can't say anything about it because none of my films have reached any level over there. But I just feel we all have a responsibility towards, as a human being, towards a society, you know. And I think if we work out a little more, I'm glad that films like Stree, Badhai Ho, Vicky Donor, these films are doing very well.
Yes, I think
and they should
the way,
more.
Yes,
Yeah.
the way they've been presented. Another movie was there which talked about some this Vicky Ayushmann Khurrana's another movie which came recently, but also it had some
Article
subject.
15.
Yes, this
Article
prior
15
to that,
is also
prior to that,
Shubham Bareli ki barfi. Lot of
Yeah.
Ayushman is a very
Yes, the one,
wise man.
some male dysfunctional something was there.
Yeah, Shubham Mangal sir.
Yeah,
I don't
was
know.
I
Yeah,
think some
but
other name.
the way
Yes,
he chose his script
yes,
is very
yeah,
good, and I'm
yes.
glad
The way
that
it
he
was
do that.
presented in a
Yeah,
subtle way,
yeah,
I think,
yeah.
yes,
Even
some
Badhai Ho,
badhai
yaar, it
ho
is
for
such
that
a
matter.
wonderful
Correct.
script. So I'm glad that these people are choosing subjects
And the
like
way it
this,
has been
and
presented.
we want more actors like him. We give us no. I would like to have a nice story. I don't want, your this, because see, entertainment is always there. It's part
Right,
of our
right,
storytelling, but
right.
it has to have a content. It has to
Content.
have a
Absolutely.
substance.
So you're saying that when you talk about such scenes in cinema, it's part of the narrative. So if I would ask you, so what is the one key takeaway from our discussion today, right? So what would
You
you
tell
say?
me what is the key point.
No, no, so basically, would you agree to this then that it when you need to see these scenes on nudity or sexuality in a perspective because it is part of the whole narrative. There's nothing right or wrong. There's nothing sacred or
It should
filthy.
it should
This
not
it
be
should be
misused. I just
yes. It
feel
should
that way.
it's got a perspective towards
Yeah,
it.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It should not be misused. There are people who would like to sell you a name of art or craft, or but I think it should not be misused. The person, whoever is part of this, or the team, should respect what they're doing. The team, it has to be like, see, you won't believe it. There are many offers which I get just after this, But if I'm not okay with the script, if I'm not okay with the people who are shooting it, or this, that, or anything, then I don't do it. I just don't do it because I have to have faith in the team. I have to have faith in the script, the narrative, the people who are part of it. Then only I can think about it. But if not, then I think nobody should. And you won't believe it. There are people, they get into it, and it's a completely messed up world. And if it's not portrayed properly, then it's a very difficult zone for all of us, because
Because it is
the
not just
society will
one.
just
Yes.
butcher you. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very wrong. It's very bad. I know.
Absolutely.
Like, because
Because
I
the
think somewhere I'm a little stronger person. Uh, that mentally, I'm I'm in peace, and I know what I'm doing, or I know I have a control about everything. But there are so many men are dealing with this mentally. They are really butchered. They are really going through a lot of issues because they have taken a step. They've taken a bold step or whatever. So, yeah, I think we all need to be strong,
Right.
and forget about only nudity. Even whatever you talk about, you have to be strong enough to, like, because the society will throw stone at you.
Absolutely. Of course, it's when I mentioned compassion. You are working with in a lot of. You have an NGO and you're working in a lot of social work. Please, I would like you to talk about that as well.
Yeah, see, I think I mentioned that when I'm acting, I'm a very real person,
Yes.
and
You work with transgenders as
I
well.
do
And the
work
rain
with
harvesting
transgender.
project.
Yeah, yeah.
Which
So
is
yeah, so what
elaborate.
happened when I honestly, like, when I got into acting, like, it's not many years. It's just like 6-7 years I've been acting now. Theater was there since my childhood, but actually being in the industry is 5-6 years only. And the more I was working, the more I was like, it's still difficult to, because the whole package is very it's a very tricky area.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times you have to be part of it, and you don't want to be part of it.
Right.
That it's very like, a lot of times it's the fake moment you don't want to get into. um, so you have to balance your life, otherwise that whole rejection will kill you. The whole
Yes.
this kind of abusing, or commenting will kill you. Because that kind of a comments is everywhere, all over social media. You'll find, you open it and you feel like, oh my god, I'm being
Absolutely.
targeted all the time. So you
Yes.
have to keep yourself sane.
Correct.
And social work is because my mom was, of course, they are from a government they were government servant, they're retired now. My father was a farmer, and I have seen my father, because our farm was taken by a industrial zone, so I have seen my father suffering because he really wanted to do farming. And so they had taken by the industrial zone, and we had nothing, and I've seen the whole suffering. The whole family was really disturbed and all. So this whole drought thing was there, and I uh, I had taken a break from all work and everything, and I started traveling because I was also depressed. Like many years back, some 7 8 years back, I was also going through things where I didn't know what I'm doing. I was working in advertising, of course, running, working, getting good money and all, but I was unhappy because creatively I was not growing anywhere. I was just earning money, and because I thought money gives you everything, you know. So I decided to quit my advertising and go back to theater, or you know, artistic field basically. I started traveling, and when you start traveling into remote areas, meet people, meet your own people, and
Right.
listen. So I started listening. That was my first thing when I quit my advertising, because listening gives you so much,
Right.
and you start understanding the problems. You know, other than analyzing unnecessary or judging them, you start understanding them more. And then of course I was part of a rescue foundation in where the trafficked women are kept. I used to go there. I used to just volunteer. Then I was in Nepal after the earthquake. I volunteered there also, in a village. And when the drought thing was there, then I felt that, oh, farmers is like me. I'm a farmer,
Right.
you know. And how do I
Absolutely.
not thought about it, that what exactly is happening? So I went back to my town,
Native
and
village.
I went to all those villages and did a research, okay, what exactly people are doing. And then of course discussed a lot with my own family what was going on at that time. Because it happens, no? You were young, you never paid
Right.
attention कि पापा क्यों परेशान है. मतलब I was worried about my own life only at that time. I never thought about them, what's happening with them. So that's where the journey started 5 years back, and I traveled across the whole Marathwada, all the drought villages. And there's this small village I thought of, I'll start the work. I started the work as a water irrigation, where we call as rainwater harvesting project.
Harvesting project.
But then I realized that only rainwater harvesting project will not be sufficient for a village, because when I'm talking about achieving something or changing something in a village, is where it's not only water, it's many other things. So
Simultaneously working on
yeah,
some
yeah,
projects.
of course I'm because I'm looking at a village as a holistic development.
Right.
I'm
Very
not
interesting.
looking at it as an event,
Right.
because I think working on something like this is just an event for a lot of people. And I said, as a farmer's daughter, I don't want that. I want to have, sanitation as a part of it, health is a part of it, education is part of it.
That's a beautiful.
So, yeah, of course, I have done 200 toilets in the village, and then I'm taking a lot
That's
of health
commendable.
camps over there. Education is because there was a school it's a primary school in the village. It's a regional language school. It was in a very bad condition, so I decided to rebuild the whole school. Marathwada is a very hot area. We have around 48 degree temperature it goes, and it's very, very hot there. And there are heat waves are there almost, and there are, unfortunately, as drought is there, so there are no trees, nothing is there. So the we all need to be we all need to be basically responsible that how we are planning to do the
How are we going to
construction.
reciprocate to this society?
Absolutely. So we
Yes,
need
yes.
to take the step by step.
Right.
When we are working on the water irrigation,
Right.
we need to even understand that carbon footprint is also an important area.
Right.
So I decided that I'm going to use a very lesser cement. because the moment we add so much of cement, it's going to be hot.
Yes, yes.
So we need to be careful for that also. The village, the school have 22 trees, so that's why the design is, we have respected those trees, and the design, my
It's
architect,
been done
she
such
has,
that
yeah, so she said ki we
no
are
cutting.
like no cutting,
Yeah.
we need to save all of them. So
Brilliant.
the design is as such, where we are respecting all the trees.
We wish you all the
And
very best in
I know
what
it's
all
very
your
difficult,
activities.
I'll tell you.
No, no, I can definitely do this because
Very,
I
very
have
difficult because
I've myself done this. I've
yeah,
worked with an NGO and as part
yeah,
of my curriculum. But yeah, that was so fulfilling. Going to those
yeah, I
children in slum
know.
areas and teaching them was a sage-sharing experience
No,
for
no,
me as well.
absolutely. I think, that is more important. Of course,
Yes.
we need to talk about the issues on
Yes.
social media,
Yes.
but the change is where you get out
Things
of that,
comes.
your digital world and actually do it, because
No, no,
then
change
you'll
comes within you. One starts to come
absolutely,
within you.
yeah, yeah,
Brilliant.
absolutely.
Right.
So that's what I'm
Great.
trying to do. Hope for the best, because it's an NGO, so
Sure.
and it's very difficult because a lot of things are there when you're building a school, when you're
Absolutely.
trying to make a difference.
Absolutely. It's
So
beautiful.
let's see.
Beautiful. Wish you very best in all
Thank
the
you.
endeavors that you do in future. Rajshree, it was lovely talking to you. Thank
Thank
you
you so
so much
much. Yeah.
for all
Thank
the
you. It's
time.
like yellow day
Yellow
today.
day. Thank you, yours.
Thank you so much.
Good. Ah, taking it so well.